You gonna be back in the ring soon?
Oh yeah, April 3rd, Australia.
Awesome. Hey, I'm friends with In the Ring with Christine.
That's what's
Shout out to In the Ring with Christine.
In the Ring with Christine, man.
And we're looking forward to your next fight.
Thank you, brother.
Tristan, you got a big knockout tonight. They're talking about you versus Zurdo Ramirez. What do you think of that fight?
I think that's a good fight. I think that's a definitely fight that will be set up in the future. I think the fans will want to see that. We're both in the same division. We're both promoters, and I think that's a fight that will be a huge thing.
Well, a knockout win like that was very impressive, man. Good luck in the best of future, and I hope you get that fight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Big fan, guys. I'm Shoeshine Boxing on YouTube, guys. Of course, you're looking huge, dog. 154 soon or what?
Hopefully not.
Welterweight? So are you training with Tim Zoo? You're training with Tim?
We got some work in for about a week, we're getting some sparring and stuff. He's here in Vegas, man, and he is actually an opponent I have a lot of respect for, so we got some work in.
That fight you had in Australia was incredible, so did you guys build a friendship, a professional friendship?
I don't know about as far as the friendship, but we're definitely cool, lots of respect, we can have conversation and everything, so.
Yeah, and shout out to Ismail Salas Gym. And Mario, when can we see you soon, man? It's a big fight on them.
Hopefully soon. Man, honestly, I'm just out here waiting, just training, staying ready, waiting for a call. Yeah, hopefully we'll be back sometime in May, maybe June.
Hey, Cinco de Mayo would be lit, man. Best of luck to both of you guys, man. Tremendous fight, guys. Bye-bye.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave in the 702 coming at you for that Monday night recap known as the Shoeshine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish. I hope you had one hell of a St. Patrick's Day weekend yesterday. Philly Irish, ¿qué pasa?
What's up, Dave?
I'm pumped for the Monday night recap known as the Shoeshine. Drew, I had a fantastic weekend in Las Vegas. Those kind of weekends that I look forward to. It was St. Patrick's Day. We went with a big group of friends to this William Zepeda fight. As you guys can see, I'm going to make sure that I chop up the show in chapters so you can get right to the meat of this wonderful podcast that Drew and I are so proud of. Shout out to everybody just joining us. My boy Fonzie619. Thank you so much, Doc, for a great time. I'm actually going to be doing a full vlog on that, putting it all together. I just had barely any time to put that together. SB, shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you watch that again, or keep in touch for the full vlog that's going to be coming out from Saturday night, and of course some of the Sunday shenanigans that we got into. I hope everybody had a fantastic St. Patrick's Day weekend. Everybody wants to know, Drew, did you get hammered? Did you drink whiskey? Did you drink some beer? What did Drew Evil drink?
I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything on St. Patrick's Day?
No, I had to work the next day.
All All right, man. Everybody understands that. Shout out to all the hardworking blue-collar hustlers like my good friend here, co-host Drew Evil, a blue-collar union man. Drew, I haven't even really talked to you. There's some huge news. Of course, you guys just saw Brian Mendoza. I had been talking to D-Style leading up to the week, and I understood that Brian Mendoza, who faced Tim Tszyu in Australia, has come aboard as one of his primary sparring partners, but it looks like maybe he just he was brought in for a day perhaps or whatnot. But then all the news has come out today. I could not believe it when you text me. Well, I wasn't that surprised. Let's be honest. I wasn't that surprised that Keith One Time Thurman, PBC's first pay-per-view special on Amazon Prime. Somebody I wasn't even really, when that fight was announced, like a lot of people, I was not enthused. Keith One Time Thurman, former welterweight champions, a very likable fighter, someone whose best days are perhaps behind him, was picked to be, way behind him, was picked to be the guy to fight Tim Tszyu on the premiere of PBC's Amazon Prime deal. And coming up in weight. So was it any surprise to you, Drew? Because I was a little bit shocked. Now, my first reaction was like, you're kidding me. How do they save the show? And they have saved the show for March 30th. And I think it might actually be better. I'm going to go ahead and ask you, Drew. Sebastian Fundora, who was knocked out in my pick for one of the top knockouts of 2023, Brian Mendoza, who I had the pleasure of meeting him and Mario Barrios this weekend. He gets elevated. He was going to fight Berhacek, or how do I pronounce his name? He's on the card. He's ready to go. He's been training. But this seems like it's a much more dangerous fight. Yes, he was knocked out by Brian Mendoza. Yes, Tim Tszyu is a power puncher. But Tim Tszyu's been working with the likes of Brian Mendoza in preparation for somebody, the size of Keith Thurman. How do you get over that, man? The guy's 6'4" and he's ready to go. Completely different dance partner, Drew. What does Drew Evil make of all this?
Not much difference. Guy fights small for his height. That's one of his main disadvantages, that he fights to the level, to the height of his competition. He does not neutralize his reach advantage, and he does take a lot of shots. So, this is a guy that I would have ideally picked on like maybe a 2 or 1 week's notice. But
12 days.
Yeah, it's under 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, but I expect Tim to get a stoppage inside 10 rounds. So now I don't think he shouldn't. I don't think that Fundora should have never got a title fight because he was knocked out in his last fight. And he was being awarded a vacant title fight. Now he's fighting for a WBO title. And now they got to find somebody else to take his spot to fight for WBC title. They're going to put both titles on the line.
Absolutely. And I have to think about someone that was a supporter of our show, someone that I've been supporting their career, Jesus Ramos Jr., whether or not he was even considered, was he available? And obviously, Jesus Ramos Jr. coming off that loss on the Canelo undercard, this past performance, probably wasn't too enthused if they did call to say, I'll fight for the world title with 12 days notice. I don't know if he got that call. I know that he's got one loss that maybe he doesn't deserve. And I know that Fundora has a loss that was as clear as night and day. He was knocked out in one of the biggest knockouts of 2023, and yet he gets the nod. Yes, he's in training camp. Well, I'm going to say this, Drew. I actually think that this is going to be a much, much better card, much more dangerous opponent to Tim Tszyu. I'm actually surprised you think he could knock him out in 10, but is it because of the chin, now that the chin is so questionable to you?
It's not only that, but Tim would be able to pressure him and he does use his reach. So Tim will be able to get in there easily on him and everything. Like, I just don't think this. I think that, yeah, it's a better opponent for him, but It's not going to make the card any better. It's not going to make the numbers, pay-per-view numbers, any better. It's going to make them worse because not a lot of people know who Fundora. Not a lot of the buyers will know who Fundora is. They just look at a 6'6" as a ooh. That's it. This has went down from potentially. To me, I thought this was only going to do 20K in pay-per-view buys.
Wow.
I won't be surprised if this does less than 10 now.
10,000 people, Drew. I think there'll be at least 10,000 people in attendance at the T-Mobile. And I was thinking, I'm like, wow, if they can't find somebody to replace Thurman, how do you fill those seats? It's over 18,000 people capacity at T-Mobile. And by the way, guys, for those of you hardcore fans that are thinking about going to the Canelo fight, I'd love to know in the chat. Let me know in the comments section of today in the replay or after the show is done. Let me know, did you snatch up tickets to Canelo Alvarez Cinco de Mayo weekend? Because, Drew, I saw that they started at $400 for nosebleeds with fees totaling maybe $850, and those tickets flew off the shelf at $400. Not quite what the Gennady Golovkin fight was as far as price, but quite up there. $300 being the average for Canelo at T-Mobile, Drew. Those seats are gone. So I'm excited for anyone who's coming to town for Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia. But, Drew, I have a feeling that tickets for this PBC fight are readily still available. There's going to be a good opportunity to snatch up some perhaps discounted tickets on the secondary market. And now I'm starting to wonder, do I get do I go to this fight? Now I'm a little bit more intrigued to see Tim Tszyu fight the Towering Inferno and see, how well he did. The triangle theory, I'm not sure it works here. This is a unique situation. Fundora is coming in to put his name, make a big statement, and to earn a title opportunity coming off a loss like that. How do you pass up an opportunity like that? I think he's dangerous, but I will agree with you, Drew. He does not use his natural gifts. The guy just doesn't. That's what makes Fundora so interesting. The guy should be fighting from the outside like Paul Williams did when Paul Williams used to fight at his best at 154 pounds, using that height and reach advantage to stay and box on the outside. Fundora just loves to mix it up in the pocket and try to shred you down. And that's going to play to the advantage of somebody like Tim Tszyu, who's proven to be a devastating puncher. You won't chop down the tree. So you're just going to chop down the tree in 10?
On a side note, Keith Thurman just retired, dude.
Did he really retire?
I think no. He just retired.
Or you tell Drew is telling Thurman just retired. Drew, let's talk about biceps injury. Andre Berto, at the tail end of his welterweight career, had that's a very similar bicep tear. Very serious surgery. One that keeps you out of the ring for about approximately a good year in rehabilitation and whatnot, especially using that bicep to throw. We just saw Andre Berto fight was Robert the Ghost Guerrero again in a rematch recently. Both of them now in their 40s. Could he come back? Yeah, but now he's starting to look like Andre Berto if he comes back. Coming back in your late 30s. Maybe fighting guys or guys that you fought in the past in a rematch, or possibly facing the risk of being a gatekeeper, like what we're going to see this weekend in Jose Zepeda, the former 140-pound contender who's going to be fighting an undefeated British fighter on DAZN for Matchroom. Does Keith One-Time Thurman want to enter the field of gatekeeper when he finally rehabilitates?
No. No one takes Keith. No one hasn't took Keith Thurman seriously in about 10 years.
That's a long time in the sport of boxing. This is a young man's sport, absolutely. So we find ourselves, like I just said, we find ourselves with something very interesting. March 30th coming up in just 12 days. Tszyu versus Fundora, the Towering Inferno out of California, and Raleigh Romero versus Pitbull. Now it just seems more appetizing to me. We'll see if this actually sells more at the gate now. And Drew seems to think it's actually going to do poorer in terms of pay-per-view sales. Where is everybody? Make sure you guys hit that like button as you come in, because obviously we're not going to get any love from the algorithm if you don't hit that like button. And do remember, I got that phone line active if you want to call in 702-710-3627. Drew and I are talking about the last minute replacement Fundora, who is now been elevated to the main event. He was going to be on that fight. If you saw the video earlier, I ran into Brian Mendoza, who heroically went down to Australia to, fight for that world title opportunity, Tim Tszyu. And he came up short, but gave one hell of a valiant performance in that fight. I want to address this comment from my boy Fonzie. He said, Mario Barrios is a big boy. I never imagined him to be that big for a guy who boxes at 140. And I want to address any haters that I might have, guys. I am just like you guys still. I am not a professional channel. Drew and I are not monetized. Drew's having a hard time staying awake for the show because I started so late, and we're going to be changing that. We're not monetized yet. We want to get monetized as soon as possible. Don't make any income from doing the podcast. We haven't yet. Also don't have any sponsorships. All right. And I'm also not a member of the press. I did not attend Saturday night's fight as a member of the press. Yet. Exactly. Thank you, Drew. Thank you. Now, that being said, I had a lot to drink. Way too much to drink. Leaving the fight, I ran into Jamel. I could have asked him a million questions. I forgot he's fighting on the Lomachenko undercard. He's flying down to Australia. Forgot to ask him all about that. Why? Well, because I had too much to drink. Ran into Mario Barrios. Could have asked him about his fight with Tank. Could have asked him about his recent performance where he trained. Now he trains with San Jose's Bob Santos. Shout out to Bob Santos and his son. Forgot to ask him about that. Forgot to ask Brian Mendoza about the Towering Inferno. In the heat of the moment, I forgot. I wasn't there on official business. That might change someday, and that's why it's important for you guys to keep supporting the Shoe Shine on my journey to be a professional. So to all them haters about, you didn't ask this question, you didn't ask that question. I was just there as a spectator, as a fan.
Just to say, at least we're not trying to be wannabes like some people.
Fozzie says, I'm hearing rumors of Charlo versus Plant. I did hear that too.
That is official.
That's official. Okay, that's now going to be on the docket for PBC.
Dallas, July 6th, July 13th in Dallas, Texas.
Interesting. Well, that Texas is where the Charlos are from. That's very interesting. It does not play to the advantage of Caleb Plant, who has a sizable fan base in Las Vegas. But
he's gonna knock him the fuck out.
Nonetheless, I think it's a good fight. It's a good inside PBC in-house fight. I like it. When we get to it, we'll see what's left of these two guys at super middleweight. All right, that being said, I'm ready. Drew, you got any more comments on this PBC card coming up March 30th? Obviously, we're going to preview it coming up in the next week or so. We'll be talking much more about that whole card.
I don't know. I just got something that really troubled me.
And what's that?
I'm watching certain things on here, and they're telling me, they're saying that, and someone put in the chat, not on this chat, guys, I'm not talking about this. The YTBC is dead. And I want to address that real quick.
Okay. Well, for people that may not be too keen on what YTBC is, can you explain it to people that might watch our show that don't know what that acronym stands for or what it represents?
YTBC is YouTube Boxing Community. So this one person said in the chat, it's dead because it's not real people, I guess. And my issue with that is it's not dead. It's on life support. But the person that made that comment is one of the causes of everything because people in this community start unnecessary beefs for no reason at all. Like the person that said it and everything. And want to make a joke and try and make himself look good and everything because I'm a wannabe insider. I get like Rick Glazer on my show all the time to tell his bullshit lies and everything, and make myself look good, and then have Samson on that I'm dick riding for Samson and everything. I'm on the dick of Samson. Yee yee yee. I'm gonna say this to everybody here. The YTBC is not dying. It's kind of on some of it's on a sabbatical because if that makes sense.
But it's definitely not dead for people like Showbiz the Adult, The Boxing Voice, Boxing Eagle. All the big channels have got no problem maintaining. Now, the smaller channels like our show were basically left looking for scraps like vultures, Drew. And unfortunately, I've seen this in tons of other communities on YouTube, whether it's true crime, whether it's the Vegas community that you guys have seen. I'm kind of on the outskirts of the Vegas YouTuber community. Let me tell you about that community. That community lives for the drama, just like some of these other communities. You are only interesting to that community if you are currently in a beef with somebody else's channel. That's what drives viewers to that particular channel. So if you find yourself in a social media beef with another channel, all of a sudden you become more interesting. So obviously for YTBC, small channels like us, I choose to stay out of the limelight. I stay in my own lane. I've got a vision for what the shoe shine is always going to be, where I want to be, why I moved to Las Vegas. I didn't come here to start beefs or wars with nobody. I stay in my own lane. And I want to deliver the best product that Drew and I are capable of. So I kind of stay away from all that nonsense, whether it's this community or any other community I involve myself in. But I understand it, y'all. Drama sells, beef sell, makes it more interesting. But I don't see the Boxing Voice get into that shit with other people because they find themselves at the top. You know what I'm saying? So they don't have time for that. So I'm just going to pretend we're at the top until we get to the top.
So I'm going to look at it like this. People say they want to we resurrect it. I'm sorry, but it doesn't need no resurrection because when you got someone like me in it, I'm ordinary. I'm a visionary. God damn, you can even call me the fucking Messiah if you want of this fucking community because I absolutely don't give a... Here's the thing. I try to stay in my lane. I try to mind my business. I try to be nice to everybody and everything. Unless you give me a reason to fucking say something to you, then all bets are off and everything. But I just want to be left alone in peace.
Y'all heard it there. Drew just wants to be left alone. Leave the guy in peace.
But there's always just some few that want to come on and test me. You know, Twitter will text me and want to come on the shows and test me. And then I just got to make them look so bad and look so sad that they went home to the house. They tell the mom in the base, they tell the mom that the parents that they're still living with, and or the wife that actually wears the pants in their relationship and everything, makes the money
for the
in
record,
relationship and everything.
For the record, my brother still lives at home.
Well, he's not part of the discussion, Dave, so don't worry about it.
All right, guys, if you want to listen, if you want to debate Drew, the number is right there. There's always, the phone line there is always open generally for an open debate and forum. And so long as we stick to the subject of boxing, I welcome the discourse, the debate. We welcome that. All right, Fonzie619 says, you guys are doing a good job. Really hoping your channel grows. And Fonzie, I really hope so too. I appreciate that as my camera went out of focus. That being said, I'm ready to talk about this weekend at the Cosmopolitan, Drew, because I had an experience I got to share with you guys. Hopefully my camera comes back into focus soon. But Fonzie's like, he's like, his whole crew was coming down. They're like, we got floor seats. And I'm like, generally we usually buy all these seats together. And I'm like, well, I got to get floor seats too, right, Drew? We show up to the co-main. We get there just in time for Floyd Schofield. I'm like, we got to go in. I want to watch Floyd Schofield. I get to the usher. They're sitting on the other side with Oscar De La Hoya. And I'm sitting over by press row. Marcos Villegas is there, obviously of FightHub.com. Everyone in press row is there. And the usher tells me, it's sold out. We oversold seats. I'm sorry. I'm like, what are you talking about? These are floor seats. He's like, we don't have seats. So I'm going to give you better seats until somebody comes and claims them. Next thing you know, your boy is sitting ringside right behind Chris Mannix and sitting right next to Floyd Showfield's mom for that fight, Drew. The fight that most of you guys saw ended in a disqualification. So I'm sitting there right behind Chris Mannix, I could not have a better seat. I'm watching the fight with Floyd Showfield's mom. Shout out to Floyd Showfield's mom, wonderful woman. Her son was getting hit by the Dominican fighter. All kind of crazy shit was happening. It ends in disqualification. Just as that fight ends, the ushers come and they're like, we're sorry. These seats here, which I'm sitting front row, literally right behind Chris Mannix of DAZN, the people who have these seats are here now. So you're going to have to move and I'm going to have to find you another seat, which I'm like, well, that was cool. I met Floyd Showfield's mom. No big deal. They moved me back just a couple of seats, which you guys see in the video I made, and you're gonna see it in the vlog, and you probably saw it. I ended up being right next to the ring entrance, right alongside that. They put me and my wife there. It turns out the seats that I was sitting in were William Zepeda's wife, I believe his wife. You guys saw the entourage. I was sitting in William Zepeda's family's seats, and they came obviously to see it. So that was pretty fucking kick-ass. Chicano Prophet says, Dave, how are ringside seats view-wise? Oh, phenomenal. It was a phenomenal experience because I'm used to going to the Cosmopolitan, Drew, and sitting, pretty good seats. But to be able to see it from there and look, and the place was sold out. I think it was full capacity. Shout out to my homegirl, Sarah H. Thank you guys and everyone for Urban AZ. Carol's in the house. Make sure you follow Carol's Home and Lifestyle on YouTube. We had a fantastic time.
Drew. I just want to know, did you attempt to give Maddox the bunny ears while he was talking on camera?
Those of you that don't know, but was it Mannix? Sports Illustrated Mannix. I've only been banned on Twitter once or suspended on X once. And it's because I said something rather inflammatory to Mannix. Next thing I know, the very next day, I see that I was suspended for whatever, a week. So Chris Mannix, you didn't hear me, but I was screaming at you. So yeah, Drew, it was awesome. And I actually still ended up sitting with some of Zepeda's family members that came all the way from Mexico. You guys see, he rolled deep. I think he brought like 100 people from Mexico.
No, you know what happened? Dave was behind Maddox, and he was like this. He was like this. I'm right behind you, bitch. Thanks for getting me banned on X, bitch. What are you gonna do now, bitch?
Zepeda versus Maxie Hughes. Obviously, guys, if you don't know who Maxie Hughes is, he just had an incredible fight against George Kambosos. George Kambosos is the guy from Australia that beat.
Yeah, robbed.
That beat. Well, Maxie Hughes was robbed in that fight, but Kambosos is the guy that beat Teofimo Lopez. So obviously, we thought Maxie Hughes was going to come and do a lot better. But this work rate of William El Camarón Zepeda is just, it's just bananas. The guy's bananas. He throws 100 punches per round. And you guys could see in my very close 4K video, he's a power puncher. He's throwing I think he landed, let's see. He landed a total of 58 body shots in just 4 rounds. And credit to Maxie Hughes, Drew, there was a lot of UK fans that came. In fact, I come out of the bathroom, and my wife is beautiful. So I'm not going to take disrespect, but I did come out of the bathroom, and some blokes, mate, were trying to talk to my wife. And of course, they're groups of 20, 30 guys. Of course, it's Las Vegas, but my wife, was looking very nice, as was all of our groups. So I wasn't going to take that. By the way, I'm not going to start a fight with 30 blokes from the UK, because that they come to fights and they seem to take on I'm here to fight too.
That's because I wasn't with him. He needed an Irish guy like me that controlled them.
I want to send a shout out to El Pachuco, Sonteo Media, Mannix Ears, yep. And everyone over at the Urban AZ crew. I appreciate you guys being in here. Yeah, for sure. I had a fantastic time. I want to send a shout out to, is it Tristan? Tristan the cruiserweight prospect on Golden Boys. Drew, I couldn't believe how nice this guy is. This kid is. He's 13-1. He had a fantastic knockout. I was watching that fight outside in the lobby, He had a devastating knockout, and they're talking about matching him up with Zurdo Ramirez, who just fought Joe Smith at cruiserweight. So I'm wondering, is Zurdo Ramirez now a gatekeeper? Or is this a very even fight between a contender with less than 15 pro fights?
I don't know. Could be, Zotto doesn't really take the sport seriously, in my opinion.
He's also got slow hands to me, even as cruiserweight. And I would say I'm going to have to favor the younger kid, Tristan. And I have a nephew. Tristan's obviously mixed race, and I have a cousin, my little baby cousin Tristan is mixed race too, of course. And he just reminds me of a very young version of that Tristan. So shout out to him for being such a nice kid and speaking with me at that fight and speaking to everybody. So I wish him the best. Floyd Schofield, Drew, he was in a nasty fight that ended in disqualification. It really didn't show us much because he didn't really get to work a lot. Actually, to be honest, this card was kind of full of mismatches. As just to be completely honest, it was kind of one of these things where Maxie Hughes should have done better, but it was full of mismatches and kind of like there to promote the Golden Boy in-house fighters. You're in agreement. In agreement, but even then, even if it benefits the in-house fighters, I had a blast. I got to be honest with you guys. I had a blast. Santiago Media says Golden Boy has been pushing and marketing him for a while. Good for him. He's got the personality to match Santiago. So I think, obviously, the cruiserweight division, the biggest name in the cruiserweight division is who, Drew?
Biggest name in cruiserweight division, Brady's, Okatai.
And they're going to be fighting in Saudi Arabia, and that's who we have to look to. Is Tristan the kind of guy that is miles better than Jake Paul? Jake Paul, who's going to be fighting Mike Tyson in an exhibition. Could Tristan land a fight with Jake Paul? Why not? Honestly, does Jake Paul want to fight a real young contender, somebody on his level perhaps, or maybe at a much higher level? I think it could be a good fight. All right, Fonzie says, remember the main event was outside when we saw all them security ran to break it up, but we missed it. There was a fight? Who's fighting? Yeah, I guess there was a fight. All right, guys, I want to talk about William El Camarón Zepeda really quickly. He deserves actually a better segment as Drew stepped away from the mic. My phone line is open if you guys feel inclined to call. I've been watching William El Camarón Zepeda out of Mexico for a while. He's only had one tiny hiccup in a fight on DAZN where he walked into a punch in the first round against a fellow Mexican countryman. That's the only blemish. He has no losses. He's undefeated. He now finds himself as a number one contender in the 135-pound division. A lot of these belts were given up by Teofimo Lopez, and they've scattered. Shakur Stevenson just picked one up on, F1 Formula Weekend in Las Vegas. You guys remember F1 Formula Weekend? Shakur Stevenson stunk up ESPN national television with what was one of the most boring championship performances we've seen any fighter. We haven't not seen such a boring fight, a championship level fight on free television as Shakur Stevenson. Today I'm reading that Bob Arum says, Oscar, the fight between Shakur and your guy, William El Camarón Zepeda, is only a phone call away. But I am here to say, screw that. Please do not waste your time fighting this guy, Shakur Stevenson. I don't care how many titles he's already won, and I think he's won 3 in 3 different weight classes. You, William El Camarón Zepeda, are on an all-time high. Your career trajectory is building. You had over 3,000 fans, almost sold out the entire Cosmopolitan. You had an entourage. You had people cheering you. Why do you want to fight Shakur when you could potentially fight the winner of Lomachenko versus George Kambosos in April in Australia in a very winnable fight to me against potentially, if Lomachenko comes out victorious, and I'm predicting Lomachenko will be victorious and regain a title at 135, why not fight a legend like Lomachenko instead of taking on the young Boarfest known as Shakur Stevenson? Drew, Bob Arum says this fight is just one phone call away. He's ready to Shakur. We know what Shakur can do against guys like De Los Santos. I'm not saying De Los Santos is as good as William Camarón Zepeda. Styles make fights. Why put yourself in a risk of being in a horrible snoozer or being caught stylistically in a matchup where you're not going to look good or have the best chances of winning a title? Why not go for a fight with Lomachenko, presuming he wins that Kambosos fight, in what could be a war against an older legendary fighter in Lomachenko, one that you might potentially win based on your insane activity and offensive output? Why not take that route? And then, if Shakur wants some of that, now you got a unification. Now you got something worth it. But I can't see why El Camarón Zepeda and Oscar De La Hoya would advise him to take that fight now. Y'all think I just don't think he can't beat Shakur? Or you think I'm actually looking at this from an advisor's perspective, maximizing the amount of money and fame that your fighter can make? I want to know what Drew thinks.
I think Lomachenko's a worse matchup.
You think Lomachenko does better than Shakur? Is anybody here surprised?
No, here's the thing. Shakur is a guy that just stays at one spot when he throws, and then he just backs away. Loma, when he throws, he'll move, he'll give you angles and start attacking from another spot. And he can time Zepeda, so he can secure Stevenson if he makes an effort to. But Loma can time. What beats speed every time? Timing. What beats volume every time? Timing. Loma will come up with a time with time Zepeda and then go with angles to attack Zepeda that takes away that volume. Now, Shakur was able to move more and punch at the same time and everything, and slip and then punch right there and then do it again. Shakur would have a huge advantage because of his age. But the footwork, the ring IQ, that really will favor Lomachenko in the fight. And I think that they think volume, if Zepeda can cut off Shakur Stevenson, Shakur's a sitting duck because Shakur's not going to be able to move or find a way to fight himself out of that hole. Because Zepeda with the more volume will be able to hit Shakur easily. Loma's going to be somebody that's going to be harder to hit and everything.
Sorry, Drew. I saw Chicano's comment. Chicano, call in. The phone line is open. He seems to want to counter your point, Drew. Before we get on to that counter, Drew, I really interrupted you. Shout out to my friend Michelle Monroe. Go check her out, guys, on YouTube. Great Las Vegas content creator. And Michelle, if you're still listening, Michelle was doing a live at this place called the Uncommons here in Southwest Las Vegas near the Durango Casino. It's one of my new favorite casinos. And Michelle, if you watch that video I have, it says Mario Barrios. I just posted it up. I am convinced that fighter, Mario Barrios, was sitting right in front of you when you did that live stream. When you did that live stream at the Uncommons, go watch the video I just put up. It says Mario Barrios. That kid was sitting right in front of you, quietly having lunch. And that's the beauty of Las Vegas, Drew, is that you could be sitting across the way from somebody famous and really not even know it. You'd be sitting next to a celebrity or an athlete or whatnot. And that's one of the cool things about living here in Las Vegas. You never know who you are going to run into. Drew Chicano says, stop the cap. Zepeda puts an end to Lomachenko.
Here's the thing. I'm telling you, that footwork and the angles and timing is going to kill Zepeda one day. And when that person's able to time him, it's over. They know how to match with Zepeda so far. That to this point, they match guys that will stay in front of him the whole time and will have telephone booth fights with him. Now, it's at a point now. You're gonna get to those two fighters. They both have the potential to time him and hurt him and stop that volume punching and everything. I'm telling you, he hasn't had to come up with a plan B yet.
I'll be honest.
So,
I've seen one guy time him. He came in cold, but aside from that one time, he's a wrecking machine. I think he's primed for the winner of the Lomachenko-Kambosos fight. If I was Oscar De La Hoya in your shoes, Oscar, I'd say, hold up, let me see who wins this fight in April. And shout out to Jamel Herring. Obviously, I talked to Jamel Herring for a quick minute. I forgot. He's not retired. He fought Shakur Stevenson, his boy. He was there with Bomac, and he is going down to Australia to fight. He's going to be on that undercard. He's very much still fighting. Shout out to Jamel Herring, guys. I'm just saying, I think William Zepeda's got a good chance of being a world champion, but play your cards right and let this guy maximize the potential fame and interest in his storyline before you throw him to Shakur Stevenson, who, might shut him out for all we know. Who hasn't he shut out?
I look at it like this. I think that he can be a champion, but the problem is, I think that Oscar should have got one of the sanctioning bodies to at least have one of the vacated titles. Have him fight for a vacated title.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100%. Shakur is the king of vacated titles. Won the title at 126 in Reno, Nevada, his very first title. I was there for that 126 title. He picks up vacant titles. A lot of these fighters, like Adrian Broner, did the same thing. I like the old-fashioned way.
Chicano, he KO'd Nakatani almost 2.5 years ago.
It's been, as he said, excuse me, guys, I've been drinking this Corona, and it's making me burp like usual. All right, speaking of Mexican beer, Guadalajara, Cinco de Mayo, one of the most exciting times to be in Las Vegas, is coming right up, and it's official. We talked about it, Drew, last week. It is official. Canelo has a dance partner, and he's sticking with PBC. This fight is already set to be at the T-Mobile Arena on May 4th, the day before Cinco de Mayo. I was talking with a lot of people that are going to be going to the Box Fan Expo. All the big fighters are going to be there in the middle of the day. I believe it's going to be Saturday. It's just a great weekend to be in Las Vegas. I cannot wait for all the festivities and who might show up. And I really want to put together a good vlog for everybody coming in out of town, where to eat, where to drink for Cinco de Mayo. So I hope to get some inspiration from that. But Drew, I'm looking forward to these press conferences to see if people are going to be interested. People that aren't Mexican will be interested in this, because you seem to be really playing down the numbers PBC can do. And this fight really appeals to Mexican Americans and Mexican people. But what about everybody else?
It's like this. I'm getting my Rick Glazer voice and everything. Well, he left PBC, and because they didn't pay him $35 million. Oh, he's back with PBC. I gotta make up an excuse why he's back with PBC. Oh, he never left? Oh, I lied again. Wow. I'm good at telling lies and everything. By the way, Rick Glazer, I work for Golden Boy Boxing, by the way.
I did not see Rick. Was Rick in the house this past Saturday? I did not see him.
He works for Golden Boy Boxing.
I know he does. He does some matchmaking for them. And he gets fighters from obscure places. He's a matchmaker. That's what he is. I did not see him. I 100% saw him with some. I should have looked for him at the bar where they were giving the free drink tickets. That's where he should.
I'm still in drink vouchers for my wife.
Cosmopolitan. Shout out to Cosmopolitan. They have a great staff. They have a great staff. They have a great cocktail menu. They've got great bartenders, and they put on a great show. So keep doing them there, please, at the Cosmopolitan. All right, moving on, guys. The Jaime Munguia fight, Canelo, Drew's laughing, is obviously in play, but even just as big of a fight that a lot of people are anticipating amongst Gen Z and the millennials, especially Gen Z, Drew, is the April 20th fight that seems to be a go between Ryan Garcia, the social media star, obviously, and Devin Haney, the Bay Area's Devin Haney, now living in Las Vegas and Henderson, makes his home here. I kept thinking in the past 2 weeks, from everything that I've been watching online, now watching Ryan Garcia on his TikTok and on his Instagram, and some of the wild shit. A couple weeks ago, it was conspiracies, but he did blunder out that he may have been a victim of sexual abuse, and now he is on a crusade this week against pedophilia. What is really concerning to me, guys, is that I'm seeing him drink. And he talks about all his haters. He's training during the day with, and then he's drinking and hammering bottles of wine. And he openly admits to smoking weed every day. This coincides with something I did this weekend that I haven't done in a while. I rewatched the Aaron Hernandez documentary on Netflix, the 3-part series. And I saw a lot of similarities, Drew, between Aaron Hernandez and Ryan Garcia.
I'm going to say this.
Please.
In the next 2 weeks, Ryan's going to pull out. It's a fucking disgrace.
At this point, I don't know if I care if he pulls out. Especially if Arnold Barboza Jr. from Los Angeles is ready to go.
He's threatened to sue the athletic commission because they told him they want a psyche violation done.
Here's the thing, guys.
Let's just say this right now.
Yes, please.
It pisses me off that this kid wants attention so much that he will bring up kids getting raped, making bullshit up involving kids the way he's done it. Fake abused, make a mockery of mental illness. That alone makes you know you have problems. You have really bad problems.
I don't know what is true and what is not with Ryan Garcia. What is true is an article that my wife sent me today that she found about Sugar Ray Leonard coming open about sexual abuse he faced with an Olympic coach in the 70s leading up to his Olympic run. That he was a victim from an Olympic male coach of sexual abuse. It happened to the great Sugar Ray Leonard. It happened to Aaron Hernandez. And these people, these fighters, these athletes kept it a secret. Now, Sugar Ray Leonard went on to have a phenomenal career, but he has chosen to come open about what has happened to him. Aaron Hernandez did not have a chance to reveal these inner demons he had as a sexual abuse survivor that turned him into a demon himself. It turned him into a monster. What I'm seeing right now is Ryan Garcia doing this every day after training. Substance abuse, alcoholism, smoking weed, which is what Aaron Hernandez did every single day to cope with his demons.
But here's the thing, Dave. He's admitting to it. That's another reason why they'll stop this fight from happening. He's drugged up. He takes drugs. He'll fail drug tests. So, and then you see his trainer in the background while he's making a joke out of training camp like this.
Yeah, I saw Derek James doing that. Drew, the truth of it is that lightweight contender from Top Rank, what's his name? Help me out here. The lightweight contender from Top Rank that got busted for smoking weed, also a silver medalist.
What, Keyshawn Davis?
Keyshawn Davis recently got a suspension for marijuana. I know this fight is in New York City where marijuana is legal, but it has to be a banned substance. It should be a banned substance. If any of this is true of what Ryan Garcia has gone through, what he's alleging that he is himself a victim of sexual abuse as a child, okay, then that's all I need to know. If this is true, you need to take a long break away from the sport of boxing and heal yourself. Straight up, you need to heal yourself. Drew, I have a friend, my wife and I have a friend. He's a straight man. He has a daughter, and he was a victim from a family member of sexual abuse. Okay. How you deal, cope, and heal, and what you do, the work you put in to have some sort of semblance of normalcy. He had to do that. Okay. I know a lot of people think if you're a victim of sexual abuse and you question your sexual identity or your gender, that just because of that, you're a homosexual. That's fucking bullshit. Okay. Honestly, God, that doesn't define your sexual orientation at all. And that's something that Aaron Hernandez struggled with, and he became a monster out of it. I hear people make fun of Ryan Garcia's sexual orientation and whatnot, this and that. And you know what? Honestly, like, that's just the wrong approach, guys. If this kid, this star, is actually going through any of this, then I'm just laying it out here. If he was a family member of mine or a close friend, or if I was in his entourage, I'd say you have plenty of success financially. You could walk away from the sport right now and come to it when you heal. If it's at all true, and this is why you're so motivated nonstop now to talk about pedophilia and sexual abuse of children, then hallelujah, you have a righteous cause, because it deserves it definitely deserves that attention. But to be focused on it right before a massive fight between you and Devin Haney, a champion, when he is 100% locked and loaded, ready and focused, you really stand the chance of getting hurt bad. Shout out to my boy, Sin City Syndicate. Shout out to Walk with Rhonda. I know Sin City Syndicate is a big time gambler in Las Vegas. I know you're kind of a whale, and you've probably seen Ryan Garcia in action at the poker tables, which is another, let's be real, is, gambling and having these kind of debts, the kind of debts we hear Bruno Mars is having in Las Vegas, owing the MGM Grand $50 million. These are vices. These are vices that stem from some type of internal issue, I wish Ryan Garcia the best. I 100% don't want to hear someday that Ryan Garcia ends up like some of these tragic stars. And if anything, if it's true, go talk to Sugar Ray Leonard. If you really are motivated to help children, combat pedophilia globally here in the U.S., then team up with the right people and focus on that, Drew. That's all I got to say on that issue. It's extremely complicated. I didn't even want to talk about it, but then again, everybody else on YouTube is talking about Ryan Garcia. Drew, I see people that don't have boxing channels talking about Ryan Garcia getting 100,000 views. I see people that don't know the fucking first thing about boxing seem to know everything about Ryan Garcia because they are TikTok stars themselves. They don't know anything really. Who knows what they know. I'm done.
Ryan Garcia retired, dude.
I'm done
You're
with
a waste to the sport of boxing. You're a disgrace to the sport of boxing. And you're just a fucking waste of space to the sport of boxing.
Yikes!
You don't take this sport seriously. You're making a mockery out of it and everything. You're making a mockery out of fucking mental health. You're making a mockery out of fucking kids that fucking went through what shit that they went through and everything. And like, dude, you're looking for attention. And that's the one way how I get attention. Like, you go one day say, oh, I'm going to make $100 million. And then you go to say that, I got this done to me when I was little and everything. Fine. Stop. You're already bullshitting and everything. They should not let you fight for the simple fact that you turn this fight, this build-up, into nothing but something that doesn't have nothing to do with boxing, just to make it about you. You're a selfish piece of shit that needs help, that should not have fucking kids and everything, because now people got to worry about what the fuck you're going to do with your kids.
Oh, man, there is a mixture.
I don't give a fuck. Like he's like seriously, like when his baby mama said, or when his wife said, "Oh, he's divorced me." Thank God for that. You can find yourself somebody better, somebody that's not a beta male, because that's what Ryan Garcia is. And he has yes men around him, to make him feel like that alpha. But he's really a beta male. Everybody, come on now.
Well, he's definitely done his fair share of crying this week, Drew. And as I mentioned, guys, go back and watch that Netflix documentary on Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was, became a father. He talked a lot about loving his daughter and how much his daughter was the most important thing in his life, but yet he was an absentee father. He just couldn't be. He even had his own place. Yeah, he didn't even marry the woman. She fought for crumbs afterwards after he passed away, trying to get the New England Patriots to give her the money that she thought Aaron Hernandez was owed. A lot of similarities in this case. Hopefully, obviously Ryan Garcia has never been accused of murdering anyone, but you could see the trauma, what the trauma does to people. So I'll move on for that for today. But actually, Fonzie had a great point, as most of you guys do here in the chat. He says, I don't like Rolly Romero, but I said it best and I respect him for it. He said, don't listen to the crap. He needs help and he should get help because he can really get hurt in the ring if he doesn't. And he's definitely not looking focused, Drew, smashing wine bottles and smoking weed every day. The Haney that just beat Regis Prograis could humiliate Ryan, could torture him in the ring, could play with him in the ring, set him up, and potentially get him out of there at the very end. I never used to think of Haney as a finisher, but this is not the best Ryan Garcia that I think we're going to be capable of seeing in the current state, emotional and mental state he is in. So March 30th is right around the corner, 12 days from a pretty big fight. PBC coming to Las Vegas this weekend. What do we have in store? We got Smith versus Zepeda. Smith is, 15-0 UK fighter versus Jose Chon Zepeda out of Long Beach, California, Drew. Shout out to everybody from Southern California and Long Beach, Drew. Now he finds himself once a lightweight contender, 140-pound contender who had been in amazing fights with Baranchek, Fight of the Year with Baranchek. Fought Jose Ramirez from Fresno for the world title opportunity. Come up short in all these big fights, Drew. Matchroom signed him. They think that he still has something left, but honest to God, this looks to me like he is now entered gatekeeper phase as the main event, Drew. He's fighting an undefeated fighter. The question is what left does Chon Zepeda have?
I think this may end in a knockout with Smith winning and Zepeda probably retiring.
It could potentially be that. It could be that. Or it could be that Smith just hasn't faced somebody with so much veteran tactics and experience as Zepeda. But I'm leaning towards Smith gets the win. And Jose Zepeda, who's really taken some serious punishment. I talked about Aaron Hernandez just now, and obviously at the end of this Aaron Zepeda, what is most important in the sport of boxing is the safety of fighters, obviously, and CTE and professional football and boxing, they all go hand in hand. The amount of punishment the brain takes in both sports is just incredible. And it might be time for Chon Zepeda after this, Drew, if he loses this fight, to really seriously consider retirement. Now, not to be outdone, the ladies are fighting. The women of boxing are fighting for the WBO welterweight championship. Sandy Ryan versus Terry Harper. Drew, one of these women just got a close draw against Jessica McCaskill. And I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if anybody's still watching. You say, was it Sandy Ryan or was it Terry Harper that just fought Jessica McCaskill in a close draw? I watched it. I just can't remember. Sometimes these fights don't leave much of an impression. What I am happy about to report is this is not a 3-round, one of these hey, these women are going to go at it for 3-minute rounds and we're going to fight for 36 minutes. I'm happy because I just find women's boxing just more exciting when it's 2-minute rounds. I see enough. I see plenty, and I love the 2 minutes that they fight. sometimes the 3 minutes when I've seen the Puerto Rican fighter fight not to be that exciting.
I just can't see it. I like when Serrano did it. I wasn't liking it. It was boring as hell. They were just doing this. Like, I don't want to watch that. Like, come on now.
My homegirl Rhonda is in Nigeria. Rhonda, can you let us know in the chat what time it is in Nigeria? And thank you for coming by and stopping by and saying hi. All right, Sin City Syndicate says he purposely tanks this promotion and his odds plummet to a plus 550. A perfect time to beat pillow-fisted Haney and cash out the counter in Vegas. Yeah. Could Ryan Garcia be capable of throwing his own fight and placing wagers by proxy, Drew, against himself? Could it be possible? Could somebody like that do that? Could somebody do that? He don't need the money to do that. There's been other people in sports that have done that, though. Floyd frequently bet on himself. I think it was allowed, right? I think it was allowed.
I don't know. I know I'll be honest with you, I won't be surprised. Like, I look at it like this. This fight's not going to happen. I just can't see the UF Athletic Commission letting this fight go on.
Wow. So this is something interesting I never heard. Rhonda says, I met Aaron Hernandez 2 weeks before he did what he did to those guys. Very, very interesting. And by the way, he was acquitted, right? Or he was acquitted on the murder of the two gentlemen at that nightclub. He got away with those. Okay, that's because he had the defense attorney, one of the best defense attorneys, celebrity attorneys possible. Yeah, incredible. Straight up incredible stuff. I'm Dave in the 702. I hope you guys have had a great time on the Shoe Shine. Drew, your final thoughts?
I can't think of anything on top of my head. I'm just fucking tired as hell.
I appreciate Drew coming on here, guys. In the next few weeks, I'll be making some announcements about the future of this channel. Some major changes are coming to my lifestyle, to my professional life, and I'll be letting you guys know some of that could be going on in the next month. You're going to see a lot more activity out of me. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell notification so you know when we're live, and so you know when Dave puts out a new vlog. I'll be making news about that too. A lot of stuff coming up, Drew. A lot of stuff. We're right on the break of, March Madness? March Madness is right upon us. Drop a comment if you're coming to Vegas for March Madness. I know my local casino, the South Point, is going to have an incredible party this weekend. Thank you, guys. Make sure you subscribe to all the great YouTube subscribers, YouTube content creators that were in here tonight. Michelle Monroe, Carol, Walk with Rhonda, and so on and so. Sontil Media, Chicano Prophet has an amazing channel. All my friends that support us, I thank you guys so much. I'm Dave in the 702. We'll see you next Monday. Peace out, everybody. Peace, Drew.